The topic is the International Conference on Alcohol and Harm Reduction in Cape Town, South Africa, 2006. And we have with us our guest, Ms. Joyce Perkins. Now, of course, Ms. Perkins, let me give you an opportunity over this last segment to talk about some of the things that you saw in South Africa that you believe our viewers would be interested in, and in a real sense give us a report, because we've not been to to Cape Town, but you just came from Cape Town, and tell us within that perspective about what you saw, and then later on you can perhaps give us some recommendations in terms of what we ought to do in reference to what you saw.
Oh, thank you. And I think that in terms of the drug problem that I witnessed and saw, is that one, they have alcohol, it's just rampant. One is it's culturally accepted, it's available, and it's cheap. And this new drug, it's not new here in this country. It's called tick there, it's called methamphetamine. It is rampant in the townships, and it's rampant throughout Cape Town. And the person that was taking me around, my guide, 10 people died in 3 days of tick overdose. So, and that was just
that rampant.
That is what was happening, and that, I mean, it was one of his best friends that had been that overdosed from it. And it's very, and it's, again, it's cheap, it's available, and people use it. And there's no treatment. There is only one treatment center in Cape Town that's sponsored by the government. I got to see that. I'm sure that you've seen the photo of the treatment center there. And there are private treatment centers, but you have to have money to do that. It's not available. In terms of what the townships were like, I mean, people care. You see people mending their housing. They're trying to paint them, make them look nice. You see clothes hanging out all the time. The children are in school. Again, schools are not free. They have to pay for them. They need clothes. The kids are just, they're out either close to their families, my observation, or else they're just wandering around the streets. There was a kidnapping of a little girl in one of the townships. The way news gets posted is that they take the front page and it gets posted around the townships. And I went to several townships, but you know, it just seems to be not everybody buys a paper, and not everybody has a TV. The electricity is scarce. Electricity goes out. Everybody does not have electricity. There's townships where there's houses that I went into where there's wires all over the place, and you have next door neighbors hooking into the electricity because they haven't got electricity. The issue with HIV and AIDS and medication and electricity. I asked at the center where the babies were, I said, what's the hardest part of working here? And they said, the babies come in and they're compromised, they're not doing well. What happens, they get fed, and they start thriving. They go back to their homes where the mother is infected already. They give them medication and a refrigerator. They throw the refrigerator out and they throw the medication out because then everybody knows they have AIDS. And the stigma is just so visible that they don't want to be part of it, because people just get beat up. They've been people have been killed and beat up to death because they have HIV and AIDS. So, you know, when you have those kinds of stigmas, it's very hard to move forward with the magnitude of what's out there and what you see. The other issue is the prison situation. I got to go to the prisons, and these were boys that were young men that were 18, 19, and 20 years old, in there for murder, killing, rape, and drug offenses. They have a system there called 26, 27s, and 28s.
26, 27s,
and 28s. And the 28s sodomize, they're sexually abusing people. Not much different than what goes on here, but there's a system that just really works like that. And then the 27, and it's usually the big guys that are doing the violence. And then, of course, the HIV, there are condoms. The 28s don't like the condoms. We sat and talked for 2.5 hours with these guys in terms of how they can take care of themselves. And there were some 28s in the room being able to hear what was being said. And of course, and then I'm gone. So, you know, it's a very serious problem. We have an urge, we have a epidemic.